Guys, see, at this point, it was beginning to dawn on me that this was not a joke. Immediately checked. It was like, Steph, what happened? Oh my god, that was when I knew everything had scattered. Like, this means I have to come back for another year. This means I am not graduating with my mates. Like, I was just broken, and then I started crying on the phone. I just started crying. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So there was no video from me last week, but if you watched the video I uploaded before Sunday's video, you will know that I traveled to school and the network there was crazy. Like, not in all areas, but in my house, like where I stayed, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even be on social media. Like, it was a struggle. So uploading a video was something I could not even do, and then I had to get my result. I told you guys it was going to be a process, so I just had to deal with one first, which was my result, and then when I get back to Abuja, I'll talk to you guys and explain what happened. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about my university experience, and no, you did not read wrong. This is not a clickbait. I actually did fail, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about everything. I'm going to be sharing with you my experience. I'll be speaking to you guys about what happened and everything leading up till now. I know a lot of you are now back to school, like after the lockdown, and congratulations to those who just got admission and who are starting. I want to say success to those who are going to write exams. Like, I know my friend is going to write exam like starting 1st of March, so success to you guys if you're in that position. I hope my story will be able to encourage you, motivate you, and inspire you. I am going to start from the very beginning so you'd understand. Yeah, this is a story time, so you probably need to go get a glass of wine, a bottle of whatever, maybe water, and just listen to this story. I finished secondary school, like O-levels, in 2011, and it took me almost 4 years to get into university, and that was mainly because of me. That was my fault. I was trying to get into a particular school. Yeah, everybody has that dream school they want to get into. So I was applying, writing jam, and the school wasn't giving me admission, but I kept insisting. Like, I finished when I was just 16, 17. So I was like, there's still time. There was even a point I missed the posterior me that year, and I was like, I'm just going to write the next one. But as I say, time waits for no man, and at a point I just realized I should probably start somewhere. So I decided to go into college. Over here, it's called a polytechnic. Now, at this time where I decided to do this was a point where if you actually have another school as a second choice, you don't even waste your time applying because they will not pick you. Like, at that time, when the school you pick as your first choice is the school, if you don't get it, that is it. You're going to either a polytechnic or a college of education. So I was like, fine, I'll go to the polytechnic, which is college for some countries. So in 2014, I got into college. I applied for computer science. For those who don't know, I studied computer science in school. Now, what happens in a polytechnic is you have the national diploma and the higher national diploma. Now, when you do the national diploma for 2 years and you go for a compulsory IT industrial training for 1 year, and then you come back for your HND. Now, during your 1 year IT, you can choose to apply to university or you can choose to come back. Now, my plan was, I didn't get into the university I wanted. I'm going to go to a polytechnic. I don't mind. I will just spend 2 years in the polytechnic, and during my IT, I'm going to apply for a direct entry into a university. That university I was always talking about, like that dream university. I'm going to apply again. I was like, I am going to take my studies very, very seriously. I worked my ass off just to get one of the best results. In fact, I graduated with a distinction in my national diploma. And I was like, now they do not have a choice. They just have to pick me. Like, what else do they want? I am going to write their exam, whatever entrance exam, and I know I'm going to pass. I was really ready for this school. Now, guys, I finished national diploma. I applied to this school, and guess what? I said waiting, and I was waiting. Now, during the wait period, my own school, that's where I did my national diploma, had already started their session, like for the HND. So I was at home waiting for these people to call me for my admission, for the admission list to come out, and my school had already begun. Like the HND now, they've started. Some of my mates were back there, and people were telling me, why don't you apply? I'm like, don't worry, I'm going to get the admission. Why don't you apply? I'm like, I don't want to waste money. And I was waiting. I think a week to my school, like the polytechnic closing the portal for admission, I applied. Now it dawned on me that I may never get the admission from my dream university, so I actually applied. And you guys should not forget the other school had already started, so I got the admission because of course I was their student. I finished from there, so it was quite easy. So I went there and it was different, guys. Everything, the fact that I didn't get into the university I wanted, the fact that I was going back to the school I did not really want, because in the first place I never wanted to go to a polytechnic. In the first place I never wanted to school in that state. I did not like the state. It was really hot. And this time around, when I was going back with my siblings. Like 2 of my siblings got admission into the polytechnic too, and yeah, they were there with me. Everything was different. Those of you who do not have siblings, you cannot relate. Now, when I was doing the national diploma, if I called my parents for money, of course they would send, like, I was the only one in university at that point. But now that we were 3, if I called for money, they would send money and I would have to split this money into 3 parts. Now, there was financial pressure on the family. Everything was different. And then, school has been in session. I had missed a lot. And coming to school at that point, like in my school, if you want to stay off campus, like I wanted to stay off campus because of my siblings. I couldn't stay in the hostel. When I got into the school, I had to go look for a house. And if you wanted to stay close to the school, the rent was crazy, like very, very expensive. It was very difficult finding a house. Like I was just stressed. And then I didn't even remember telling you guys this part. At that time, around that time, I had lost my relationship. So I was dealing with heartbreak. I was dealing with heartbreak from not just someone. I was dealing with heartbreak for not getting into my dream school, and there was just so much. And then I had lectures to attend, so I was going to lectures. It was so much work. I had my siblings, and this was the first time I was living with my siblings, quote unquote, like without my parents. So I was practically their mom at that time. I was their mom and dad at that time. I was watching over them. I was telling them things to do. Like it was just different for me. There was just so much for me and on me. And gradually I started slipping into depression. Yeah. And in 2017, 2018, depression for a Nigerian was not something you'd hear of. Like people did not understand this emotional thing, like that depressed, like what is making you depressed. It was, in short, when you talk about depression, it was like an abroad thing. Like, I actually tried reaching out to people. I didn't want to deal with this thing alone, but at that time, the person I actually trusted to enough to talk to, she was actually busy and she couldn't get back to me, and that was the only person I wanted to talk to. That was the only person I trusted with my feelings at that time. So I just locked up. Like I'm just gonna get over this by myself. So I wasn't talking to anybody. I was sad. And then at that time, if you guys know me way back, makeup was not my thing. I didn't have a clue how to do any single makeup. So at that time I found makeup because I would go to sleep at night and cry and wet my pillow, and I wake up with puffy eyes, dark everything. So I using makeup. I'll go to class, I would smile, I was all smiles, and I was acting all fine and good. And I was really messed up. Like I was really, really messed up. I was going to class at that time, and I'm not going to lie to you. The way someone is there but is not there. I go to class, I sit, I listen to lectures, but I was not hearing anything. It was just my body that was there. I don't even know where my mind was. I really don't even know what I was really doing at that point, but I just know it wasn't me. So of course, writing tests, writing exams, and when the results came out, guys, I failed. For the polytechnic, the highest grade is 4.0. I had a 2.3 and I failed the course. In all my life, I have never failed in school. Like, I'm not trying to brag, but I'm one of those heads in class. Yeah, I take my book seriously. I'm intelligent, if I would say. Yeah, I've always been, right from primary school. I'm not one of those Nigerian parents that would say, I used to carry first. I actually have proof. I used to be among the top in the class. And yeah, that was the first time failing in school. God, I feel like I'm gonna cry. I'm just getting emotional right now. Yeah. And I remember that day when I saw the results, and it told me I failed the course, and I still remember how I felt that day. I remember how painful it was, and I just started crying. I cried. I cried right from the school. Like I was going back home, and yeah, so I met one of my friend, and he just talked to me. How are you crying? Um, don't you know you've even done better than most of your peers who have been in school, who had been here? Just don't worry, everything will be fine. You can always get back up and all of that. And yeah, oh well, I got back home and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna, there's nothing I can do now. Like I've already lost a semester and I have a course. And then the terrible about this was the fact that the course I failed was a non-departmental course. This was statistics, and guys, statistics. Hey God. I've not finished dealing with the maths like MTH courses in my department. I had to deal with a non-departmental course, statistics with all of those strange symbols and calculations, like, and for someone who wasn't concentrating, I had to rewrite this course. Now of course you have to attend classes for that with your juniors, and it was just so much for me at that time. And well, of course, tongue started wagging, people started talking. When you are at the top there, as in people respect you, people know you're a guru, and then you fail a course. You didn't just have a low grade. Like, people just started saying a lot of things, and even people I respected. I think I even tweeted about this at some point in 2018. I'm gonna put it up somewhere. I'm gonna put it on the screen. And then my course advisor, someone who I looked up to, someone who I respected a lot, told me my face was not correlating with my brain cells. Like, guys, that was what he told me. I remember the day he told me this thing. It was heartbreaking. Like, this is a whole different topic on its own. If you know someone's capability, if you know what someone is capable of, if you know if you know how someone used to be, and there's a slight change, I feel like you as a mature person, you as a supervisor or an advisor, or someone older, you should get to talk to this person, try to find out what exactly happened, not jump into conclusions, not assume and think that someone did something on purpose. Like, sometimes people do things for certain reasons, and at this time a lot of people did not know I was even depressed. A lot of people did not know I was going through a lot. A lot of people did not know I was not myself. They just were just talking, and yeah, someone who I expected to be my support at that time, who I looked up to for advice, was telling me my face. Like, if you guys understand this tweet, it meant that I was, as a fine girl I am, my brain cells was not as fine as I was. Yeah, that was insulting. That was heartbreaking. And this was even the start of the new semester, because you see your results when you resume for the next semester. That's how it works. So when he told me this, it took a long time to forgive him. I've actually forgiven him, I'm not even going to lie, but it took a long time. And every time I tried to read, I would always remember those words, and I would just think, like, so my face doesn't correlate with my brain cells. Like, it was always echoing in my mind. And that's the thing about not forgiving people. At the end of the day, it's actually you hurting. So it took a while though, but I forgave him, and I told myself that was the first time I was failing, right? And it was in my hands. Like, it's up to me now to decide if I want to be a failure forever or to be a success. I started working hard again. I spoke to someone, and I talked about how I was feeling, and that really helped. I was able to get over the depression. Once I got over my depression, once I could get over that sadness, that pain, I got back to where I used to be. Now I started reading. I was like, yeah, I'm going to show these people, not just show these people, I'm going to prove that I am what I used to be, and I can even do much better than how it was. Now, you know how it is. I failed the course and I had a 2.3. I had to go back up there. I had to work hard. And honestly, your HND is not the same as your ND. You have to work hard. The courses are different, they are more technical, they are more difficult. And I was going to class, I was coming back home to read and going to class again. Like at that time, you could actually say where exactly I was, because I kind of lived in a circle. I was class, home, class. I used to do 9 classes with my friends then. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you know sometimes I'll come back from class in the night and we're making snaps and all of that. So I used to go to the class, back home, class, back home, class. Like I was going to come back up there. That was it. I was going to make my grades. I was not going to graduate with a lower. I started reading like crazy. And for that semester, thankfully I went up. I rewrote the course. I failed. I passed. Yes, I passed. And my GP shot up to 2.7. Remember, it was 2.3. I can still go further now. I have 2 semesters left. I should work and work and work. And that was what I did. Now, last year, just before the craziness that happened, before the whole lockdown and everything, I wrote my exams and our result came out when we were still back home, like, during the lockdown. At this time, when it came out, schools were not open. I already started my YouTube channel, and then I posted this video about how I got monetized, and then I shared the story about how I was rejected. My first application was rejected because I used someone's work and all of that. And then my lecturer texted me and it was like, all the things we'll be teaching you, you never learn. How do you take someone's work and plagiarize? Is it plagiarize? Like, I find it hard to pronounce this word. But anyways, that word on the screen. Yeah, I copied someone's content, and yeah, this is exactly what even happened. That now my results are out. I failed. And I was like, what did you say? I was like, what did you say? And then he said, yes, that in fact, it's probably this YouTube channel that even made me to fail. Because when I started my YouTube channel, that was in my final year, like the last semester for my finals. And I started my YouTube channel. I was doing YouTube, I was in school, right? But I still remember then, I think I would only post once in a week because I had exams and all of that. And during my exam period, I even took time off. And it was like, yeah, it was my channel that made me fail. And I was like, sir, fail? I cannot fail. And it was like, what are you saying? You failed. I have the results right here with me. This was on phone, like we're actually chatting. And I was like, okay, so what course did I fail? And guys, he mentioned the course that gave us trouble the most. That was entrepreneurship. Another non-departmental course. Oh my God. If there was any course that would give issues, it was going to be that course. But not for me, because I know I read. I know I wrote well. Like, when you're so sure, I am this person that I don't believe in this, the lecturer failed me, or when I'm not going to do well in a course, I know I will not do well in that course because I trust what I write. I believe it's your effort, whatever you put out there, that comes back to you. But in that course, I knew I wrote well. So if I was going to fail that course, it would probably be because of the lecturer, not me. I couldn't fail that course. I knew what I wrote. And I was thinking, is this man playing pranks? Is this man joking with me? Is he being serious? But why would he joke? Like, this is my final year. Why would he joke about this? This is not something to joke about. And I was like, okay, fine. What is my grade point? And then he went offline. I guess he had a class or something. And I kept thinking about this. At first, I didn't let it disturb me. I was like, it's probably a prank. So it pops up in my head sometimes, because at this time, school had not called us back to come collect our result. Like, schools have not resumed. And I was like, what am I going to do? Sometimes I am happy, and all of a sudden it pops up in my head, and I'm like, what if I really failed? So I called our examiner, and I was like, sir, our results is out. And he said, yeah, the result is out. And I was like, sir, I heard I failed. And he was like, really? Okay. I just want to know, I just want to be sure. And then he's like, okay, fine, give me your mat number. So I was on the phone, I called the mat number for him, and he checked, he was checking, and I was waiting. And it was like, Stephanie. And I was like, yeah, that's my name. He called the number, I confirmed, and then he started going through, and I was like, okay. And then he said, and I was like, sir. Guys, see, at this point, it was beginning to dawn on me that this was not a joke. So we have two examiners, yeah. So the other examiner was in the office, and he knows me, and he's like, is this Steph you're talking to? And the man said yes. So he was like, let me even talk to her. So he collected the phone. Steph, well, how are you? How is everything? I said, fine, sir. I want to check my result. He was like, okay, your result is here, let me check. Immediately he checked. It was like, Steph, what happened? Oh my god, that was when I knew everything had scattered. Like, I knew this was not a joke anymore. And hot tears, guys. I just started crying. Like, I was in the house back home in Abuja here, and then they were checking my results in school, and I just started crying. Like, I just couldn't believe that in my final year, like, this is my final semester. How? And it's not like the other one where you fail and you can write it, when the session is still on. This means I have to come back for another year. This means I am not graduating with my mates. This means I actually did not achieve that goal. I did not prove that point I wanted to make, even to myself. Like, I was just broken, and then I started crying on the phone. I just started crying, and yeah, he heard me crying. He was like, you are crying. Sorry, I beg. Take your phone back. So he gave it back to the other examiner, and the other examiner started laughing, and he was laughing. And I was like, Steph, are you crying? I was like, sir, I failed. The worst thing that can ever happen to you is finishing school and going to check your results and finding out that you are not graduating with your mates. Like, you're not graduating. You're going to come back for an extra year. I was heartbroken. Like, I almost... Guys, I'm just gonna cry. And then the man was like, see you. So you don't even have trust in yourself. You don't even have belief in yourself. I was like, no, it's not like that. It's not like I don't know. I'm even ready to call for this paper, but I just cannot believe I am... And it was like, Steph, you didn't fail. Steph, you did not fail. You have A's. Like, all your courses, you have A's. I think it's only an AB you have. And I just started screaming, like, gosh, guys. I just started screaming. Like, I was so happy. And it was like, Steph, even in a distinction, you got a distinction. And I was like, sir, a distinction? Yeah. And I was so happy. And they were like, don't worry, maybe the next 2 or 3 weeks you'll be able to come back to school to check your results. So guys, went back to school last week, and I was able to collect my results, and to God be the glory. To God be the glory. I graduated with an upper. Now the thing is, in that semester I got a distinction, but then, like, they do a GP and a CGP, your cumulative GP. They calculate all of your semester's GP, put them all together, and well, it dropped because of that first semester, and because I failed, it dropped. And instead of graduating with a distinction, I am graduating with an upper. But we move, and to an extent, I just feel like it's because of what I said. I always told myself I'll graduate with an upper. I wasn't working for a distinction, but the fact that I got a distinction in my last semester, it still makes me feel like I did something. Yeah, like, you can actually do it. You can actually work. You can actually put in that work. You can actually get what you want. All I can say is I am so grateful to God, and this one experience makes me so sure that God listens to us. And I just want to encourage anyone out there dealing with things like this. You're probably in school and you are failing, and you think you cannot, get back up there. You surely can. You really can. You just have to put in the work. You just have to believe in yourself. Like, then I remember when I would go for tests or exams. In fact, I wrote out affirmations, I wrote out Bible verses, and I would read them and I would speak them out to myself. And when I'm going to class for any exam or test, I would always meditate in my head. Those were the things I would say in my head. I would talk about the fact that the path of the just is like a shining light that shines brighter and brighter even unto a perfect day. And I know that even though I had failed in the past, my path is going to shine brighter and brighter, and I'm just going to go higher and higher. And I will tell myself that whatever I want I can get, because the Bible says we should ask. And I will tell God, this is what I want. Guys, you just have to work, pray, work and pray, work and pray. Now, because a lot of people think it's only by prayer. A lot of students come to school and then they carry church on their head. When you go into your exam hall, you don't read, and you ask God to help you. God is not a magician. It is whatever you have read. Sometimes you get into your exam hall, you forget things. But if you've read, if you've studied, whatever remembrance is going to remind you of what you've actually read, what you've actually put in your head. It's not just going to do magic for an empty head. That's what a lot of people fail to understand. You have to read, you have to do your own part so God can do his work. God is not a magician. So you have to study, you have to read, and even when things seem like they are not working, even when things seem like they are not going your way, don't beat yourself up. Do not do what I did, where I just, closed up. I feel like if I probably reached out to someone else and talk to someone about my feelings at that point, maybe I wouldn't have slipped into depression. And this is why, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I am always hyper, like I am always happy. Guys, I was depressed. And trust me, depression is something I do not wish on anyone, something no one should ever go through. Depression can kill you. Yeah. A lot of times, I had several thoughts that I cannot even share. Like, it is something no one should ever go through. And yeah, I got out of that and I told myself, Steph, this is an experience that you would never, ever, ever feel anymore. And I just told myself I would never, ever be that sad person. Now, when things happen, when things aren't going my way, when things spoil my mood, I probably would just dwell in that for like some minutes, and I snap out of it, because I cannot go back to where I came from. I cannot experience depression again. And at this time, I don't regret anything. I've forgotten about this dream school, because now at this point they can go with their stupid admission. I don't even want it anymore. I am now a graduate, and I just couldn't have asked for, I don't know, like I just feel accomplished. I just feel fulfilled. I feel so happy, and I'm really thankful to God that I had the opportunity to go to this school, to meet the people I've met, to learn the things I have learned, because, guys, anyways, that is the end of the story. Yeah, I failed, but at the end, I passed. I won, and I hope you guys enjoyed this story. Maybe I should do more story times. I have a lot of stories I want to share with you guys. Yeah, so I'm going to see you guys in my next one. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe and like this video. It does help with the algorithm, guys. It does help with the algorithm. Please like this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.